Natural gas. Natural gas has been going down all the way since late last year, and yesterday it crossed above the 20-day moving average, or above the middle of the Bollinger Bands for the first time in over a month. Is that a sign of a bit of a rally coming up in natural gas? Let's have a look at the details. Welcome to myfinanceteacher.org, where we do like to look at asset price cycles and seasonality. So talking about those cycles, zooming out into longer term view on natural gas, going back to at least 2017, these natural gas cycles usually follow the following patterns. Every cycle rally breaks above the 50-day moving average for a few days, except in cases when that 50-day moving average is very steep. That's when instead of breaking the 50-day moving average, a simple test of that average might be enough. A cycle rally also raises the 14-day RSI by at least 20 points, very often by much more than that, and RSI slices through the neutral level of 50. And an additional sign is that the price usually pokes above the relatively wide Bollinger Bands, especially into the later stages where the price is ready to form some sort of a top. The converse is also true for a cycle decline. The signs to identify some sort of a cycle low is again a break below the 50-day moving average for a few days, sometimes only a test of that average, RSI dropping by over 20 points and slicing through the neutral level, as well as pokes below relatively wide Bollinger Bands. So based on these signs of identifying our natural gas cycles, we see that cycles usually last for around 4 months, although the duration ranges quite a lot within these last 6 years at least, anywhere from under a couple of months to half a year duration. Now moving on from the longer term view to zoomed in version, we see a cycle here going on since the late February. Unfortunately, the price didn't break above the 50-day moving average as it was relatively steep. A simple test of that 50-day moving average was enough for that cycle rally. We see RSI has risen by well over 50 points, slicing through that neutral level. Over the last couple of days though, price has risen close to that 50-day moving average, so there is some chance that we have seen a cycle low a couple of days ago on the 14th of April. Although I still think there is also a pretty good chance for one more short-term decline in natural gas before the prices are ready to rally into a new cycle. That's just based on the fact that the cycle would be relatively short at only 51 days. That would be the shortest over the last 6 years or so, with the previous record at only 53 days. But again, as I mentioned, there is also some chance, perhaps at least 1 in 3 chances, that we have seen a cycle low on the 14th of April and price is going to rally from here onwards for several weeks, as the cycles usually last for 4 months, hence rallying for at least a month or 2 is very common sometime into the middle of the cycle. Next, looking at the market sentiment, that's gas optics optimism index. It has recently dropped all the way down to this 25 level, the green dotted line in front of you. Yes, historically, sometimes it does drop deep under that level, as it happened in early 2020. But generally speaking, purchasing when the optimism index is close to that green line does work out relatively well, usually at least over the next several weeks, over the next couple of months. So again, whether we have seen a cycle low a few days ago or one is going to come up over the next couple of weeks, it's probably worth keeping an eye on additional buying opportunities in natural gas over these next couple of weeks. Alternatively, if that 1 in 3 chances scenario plays out, if natural gas just slices through the 50-day moving average, one might actually try a trade over here with a stop loss below that 50-day moving average. Next, looking at seasonality, and we see that seasonality also agrees that sometime in the middle of April we usually see a rally in natural gas prices, and it's pretty common for this rally to last all the way into late May or even middle of June. So whatever happens to natural gas prices over the very next short term, over the next couple of weeks, in the intermediate term the outlook is pretty positive. And moving on from the very short term to the intermediate and the longer term view, this is the view of the natural gas prices over the last 20, actually even 21, 22 years. Usually whenever the gas price drops all the way down to this level of $2, that's black line near the bottom of your screen, it doesn't usually stay very long around these prices. Back in 2020 was the longest when natural gas price stayed below $2. That was for around half a year, including this temporary spike in April-May of that year. But at least over the last 22 years, it's more common for natural gas prices to bounce pretty quickly from that level of $2 or close to that, as it happened over here in the middle of 2019. Or even if natural gas prices again dip down below that $2 level, they don't usually stay there for very long. Recently, prices came pretty close to that $2 level, all the way down to about $2.12 or so. That's perhaps somewhat similar to what happened in the middle of 2019. And this is a weekly chart. So again, over the next couple of weeks, even if the prices do retest this $2.1, or even if they drop all the way down to $2 over the next 1 or 2 weeks, I think there is a very high chance that would be our cycle low, and a rally into a new cycle would take place after that. I would give this scenario perhaps somewhere around 60% chance, with about 1 in 3 chances of a cycle rally that has already started over the last few weeks. And coming back to our longer term view, again, I would expect significantly higher prices in the longer term, that's into next year and into 2025. And an interesting piece of information to support that is upcoming significant LNG facilities, at least according to this Energy Information Administration. As we see from next year and into 2025-2026, LNG export capacity in the US is going to increase significantly by well over 40%, providing some wonderful business opportunities for some of your favorite natural gas names. And more details on that, join us at myfinancesteacher.org, where we look at a range of assets, including the general stock market, precious metals, cryptos, as well as energy. We're looking at natural gas at the moment, and perhaps one of the highlights in energy is our monthly uranium report. There are some examples on my YouTube channel here, and much more at myfinancesteacher.org. The membership is only $10, which is basically nothing in the current inflationary environment. So come join us. For now though, have a nice day. Bye bye.